Hey guys, Troy Francis coming at you from New York City. We're in the Soho area. I was sort of wandering around Canal Street, which is a little bit of a ropier sort of side of Soho, but it's still pretty cool. It's still got a good vibe. So what I want to talk about now is monogamy, and is monogamy actually even possible anymore in 2023, going into 2024, in some of these major economic centers like New York and like wherever else you want to name. Is it actually possible at all? And then, is it desirable? Okay. Is it possible, monogamy, long-term relationship where it's just you and the other person and you guys are together and that's it? Is it possible? Yeah, theoretically it's possible, of course. Theoretically, anything's possible. But the key thing really is that you both have to be on board with that relationship, and you both have to be committed to that relationship going the distance. And beyond that, you have to stay committed as well, because it's all very well, like at the beginning of the relationship, right, everybody's going to be on their best behavior, okay? So at the beginning of the relationship, you're like, yeah, man, you know, yeah, I'm committed, you know, we'll be together forever, I love you, babe, blah, blah, blah. It's easy to say all of that, words are cheap, but, and sometimes you get these influencers who are on like Twitter and stuff, X, and, you know, they've been married for 2 years or 3 years or something like that, and, you know, they're lecturing everybody else about why they should settle down and be a good boy and all that, which is fine, you know, whatever. But the problem is they haven't really done the hard yards of monogamy, because monogamy for the first 2 years, first 3 years, even up to the first 4 years or so, great. Like, you've got the feels, you've got the good sex, you've got the vibe, it's all good, right? Who doesn't enjoy that? Who wouldn't want that? But man, you've got to get to 5 years, you've got to get to 10 years, you've got to get to 15 years, right? Before you're really testing your mettle and testing the mettle of the other person. And, you know, the truth of the matter is that life will reveal the character of you and of the person that you are with. The only way that you will really reveal it is through the passing of time and life happening to you, and then you will see what you're really dealing with, okay? And people talk about vetting and stuff like that, and yeah, you know, you can vet to an extent. I mean, you know, oh my God, she's got tattoos, or oh, she goes to the club or whatever. I mean, you know, people vet for all these things, and these are, you know, I mean, those are some pretty bloody obvious things, really. I would hope most people are sensible enough to recognise, and I actually don't care about tattoos personally, and the club, whatever. It depends what you're looking for, but there are clearly some very obvious red flags that anybody would be an idiot to engage in something serious with that person, seeing those red flags in place, okay? So fine, obviously rule out those things. I mean, you want to avoid very obvious traps. You want to avoid very obvious sort of danger zone situations with women who are just completely unsuitable. But beyond that, once you've vetted for those very obvious red flags, and you're like, yeah, okay, she seems cool, blah, 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 you may think, okay, right, everything's fine now. But again, you don't really know until she's been tested by the passing of time. You don't really know until life has happened to the both of you, and, you know, maybe you lose your job, or maybe you get ill, or maybe something really bad or something you know, challenging happens in your life, and you need her support. And is she actually going to be there for you? Now, at the beginning, she's going to say, yeah, of course I'm going to be there. But is that the reality? You just don't know. I mean, I was working with a guy recently, and the situation was reversed, because his partner, his girlfriend, was going through some challenges with her health, and she just decides to move out. You know, she just one day just decides, okay, listen, I'm going to move out. I've been advised it's the best thing to do because I need to work on my own recovery, okay? What does he do? Well, he's left in this weird situation of like, well, you know, I love this woman, I want to be with her, but she's decided at the moment she's just going to up and leave, but she's saying that she's doing that for the sake of her health, you know? Very, very difficult situation to be in. You don't know how people are going to behave. You don't know how people are going to act. Now, I'm sure at the beginning of the relationship, he probably wouldn't have imagined that would ever have happened, right? Because, people, as I say, everyone's on their best behaviour when they first go into these things. Nobody's going to, and if they do, you're just going to dump them, aren't you? You're just going to split up with them. Like, nobody goes into a relationship displaying undesirable traits or toxic traits. We try to, and I include myself in this, of course, we try to cover them up because that's just how human beings operate, right? You're not going to go on the first date with somebody and be like super toxic. And when those things do happen, there tends to be Reddit posts about them, and obviously, the people never meet again because you're like, well, this person's insane, okay? So just be a little bit sensible. Recognize that vetting, while important, is not fail-safe by any means, okay? So then, is monogamy actually possible? Well, as I say, it is possible, theoretically, but it's becoming increasingly challenging, okay? I'm in New York City now, which is a slightly quiet street, actually. Jeez, I nearly got run over. I'm in New York City now, and there are a lot of options here. There's a lot of opportunities, etc., etc. We've all got smartphones, we've all got Instagram, we've all got, well, I haven't got Tinder, but there's access to all of this stuff. And there's a lot of temptation out there, and we live in this very sort of dopamine fueled culture where if you're not happy with this one particular thing now, well, fuck it, I want to be happy now, so I'm going to change it. I'm going to go and do this. I'm going to go and see somebody else. Chad from the pool party looks great. So it's increasingly difficult, the way the culture is set up, to remain in those monogamous situations. And I don't think that we are really wired for it either. I mean, a friend of mine used to say, human beings are not monogamous, we are monogam-ish. Okay, not monogamous, we are monogam-ish. Okay, so we kind of like monogamy for a bit, normally for about 3 years. Some relationships, marriages and stuff, if there's kids involved, they last up to about 10 years. And then the phrase starts to appear and it kind of starts to go downhill, okay? And maybe serial monogamy is the future where, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to be with this person for 3 or 4 years and, we'll split up and then I'm going to be with somebody else. And that's a very hard thing, I think, for people to take because it's painful to be with somebody and then just randomly split up with them 4 years later and then have to pick up those pieces and rebuild it all again, because we do develop these great feelings for people. We fall in love. We love that person with all our soul, and particularly for guys, we also want that variety as well. We want that excitement. We want we want to be out there again in the wild of the city. So, and women have this as well. So you've got these dual sort of opposing aspects to our nature, which are very hard to reconcile within a conventional monogamous relationship. So given that monogamy is extremely difficult and is becoming harder and harder, whether it's impossible, I wouldn't say that, but it's certainly becoming harder and harder. Is it actually even desirable? And that's the other thing that you need to think about, because maybe, and I was saying in a previous video or recent video, we're all sort of encouraged to, in the end, it's like, well, in the end, you want to put all this player stuff behind you and you want to settle down and meet a high quality woman and, all of that. Oh, come on, man, when are you going to settle down? When are you going to do the right thing? All of this stuff. But really, given the state of play, is that even desirable in the first place? Because actually, what you could do, if you were so minded, is just say, well, sod all of that. I'm just going to travel around. I'm going to have a cool life. I'm going to, work on my business. I'm going to work on my passion. I'm going to meet different people, and I'm going to be autonomous. And I'm not actually going to surrender to that conventional setup, which seems to be hugely flawed, given that the divorce rate is still around 50% in most countries, and it's even higher for second and third marriages, okay? So these are all things that you've got to make a decision on yourself. I think, as I say, monogamy, while not impossible, is certainly becoming harder and harder. I don't think we're really wired for it anyway, and whether it's desirable or not, well, that's up to you, but there's a big world out there, and there is lots of fun to be had if you so wish. Anyway, on that note, please subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications bell, because I'm probably massively shadow banned, so you probably don't see these videos coming up, so hit that bell. And yeah, if you want to jump on a call with me, you can do that. Email me, troy@realtroyfrancis.com, or get on my Calendly, there's a link below. Grab my books, Renegade Dating Blueprint. There's 11 books about all of this stuff, where I go into huge detail about my own personal experiences with lots of lessons and actionable advice and so on and so forth. And I will see you very soon. Troy Francis, New York City. Bye-bye.